Welcome in, Falcon fans. It's your boy Bryce Lewis back at it again for more Atlanta Falcons coverage as we wrap up the preseason here. Falcons playing their final game Thursday against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now look ahead to the NFL regular season week 1 against the Carolina Panthers. But before we talk about any of that, we want to recap the preseason. That's what this episode will be. We'll preview week 1 and another episode coming in another week. But right today, we're going to recap what we've seen in the preseason, impressions, standouts, and just thoughts going into, like I said, the season. So, we're just going to go ahead and dive right into it, man. I know a lot of people were not happy about how much time the starters have played. Only played one series the entire preseason. Arthur Smith did this his first year in Atlanta, really didn't play the starters a lot. He cited health as a reason. He wants his starters to be healthy. I know a lot of people question that when it came to Desmond Ridder because, he's a guy who hasn't proven himself. He's not an all-pro. It's not like he is legitimate. And so they're wondering, why is he not getting reps? Doesn't he need as many reps as he can get? Arthur Smith cited that camp has been very physical. So that's one of the reasons why he has not been playing his starters a lot during the preseason game. Doesn't want to add those extra hits on, potentially have an injury before the season starts. He's basically, from that perspective, been successful. No major Falcon has had an injury. Jeff Okudah is probably the biggest one, but he'll probably be back. He could be back week 1, but it's not a long-term injury. So pretty much your main key guys are healthy. So that's what he wanted. That's what he wanted out of the preseason. That's what he wanted out of training camp. And like I said, I know a lot of people are just not happy about that. In terms of Desmond himself, it would have been nice to see him more. But clearly, Arthur must feel like from what he is seeing in practice and what he saw in that one series against the Bengals, he saw everything he needed to see when it came to Desmond, and he doesn't need to see anything else. Clearly, preseason's kind of weird because defenses are not using their schemes like that. They're kind of playing very vanilla-based defenses. Offenses are kind of just going through basic concepts a lot of the time and then just trying to execute that well before getting into all the other stuff going into the regular season. So that's why some people wonder, would you really be able to see a good evaluation on a quarterback? Because there's quarterbacks who ball in preseason and then are bad in regular season just because, again, you're not playing against that type of defensive. They're not really getting game plan for a lot. And things like that. But overall, I think, for me, my thing is that it really won't matter if the Falcons win games. If the Falcons win games, it won't matter. I think it's only because it's part of the process and we're still in the beginning stages, and you would just have liked to see them play more. But I don't think it's one of those things where it's because they didn't play, it's like this is a complete wreck already. I know a lot of people are not happy about it, but it is what it is. Listen, he wanted the guys to be healthy, he got that. So if they play well in week 1 and do what they need to do going into the regular season, all this talk right now will be irrelevant. But just want to get some quick thoughts on that. Now, actually getting into the players themselves, we saw Bijan for a little bit. Like I said, for one possession, looked good. A lot of people are really hyped about him, really excited about seeing what he can do getting into the regular season, excited about what he can bring to the table, expecting him to be used in a very dynamic way, pass catching, running the football, just all different types of ways. Still got Tyler Algier looking to really, be that change of pace back, more physical guy who's going to go down, one cut guy and just go right into the teeth of the defense and pound and just completely, wear the team's out. And then you got Cordell Patterson, a jack of all trades, can play receiver, can play running back, expect him to be really good. Receiver-wise, Drake London, we expect him to be a stud. Obviously, they're the most, in terms of a position group, maybe the biggest question marks, maybe outside of linebacker on the entire team, just because after Drake, I do think Mac will be really good for us. Scotty Miller, we got to see how he does. Wide receiver 5, that position, we'll know in the coming days as they get down to the 53-man roster who will be wide receiver 5. I'm hearing some Josh Ali, Xavier Malone's made some good things. Savvy Penny Hart. That's going to be interesting to see who gets that spot. Like I said, Pitts had a couple of catches in the preseason. Like I said, didn't play a lot. They've really been trying to not rush him back too much coming off the injury from last year. He's healthy, ready to go, I think, going into the regular season, and everything like that. Offensive line, Matthew Bergeron with Matt Hennessy going down, it seems like he will be the starting guard. I think a lot of people thought going into the season when they drafted him, why wouldn't he be the starting guard? And I guess, obviously Arthur Smith, you can see his regime, they make you earn it. They're not just going to give it to you. So, and Matthew earned it because he got an opportunity and he played well. Of course, he's going to have some bad reps, sometimes bad plays, even bad drives. Just because he's a rookie, he's growing, he's learning. But you pretty much have your 4 other guys pretty much settled on that offensive line. And, I expect this Falcons offensive line to still be a top 10 O line. Defensively, I feel like you saw some good things for some guys. I think AK is going to take a step up. I think, Bud Dupree's going to be really good for that locker room. I think the interior of that defense with Calais Campbell, Grady Jarrett, David Onyemata, like all of them are going to be really impactful players. They actually have some good players on the depth. I know they're going to have some problems, especially like I said, in that interior defensive line and cuts, trying to figure out who they want to let go. Because there's been some good guys. Timmy Horn has had a good preseason training camp. Brazio had a big training camp as well. I mean, there's some guys there that's like, this isn't going to be easy. Tyquan Graham, I expect him to be on the roster, so they're going to make some tight cuts there. And one of the biggest things that I want to point out is one of the biggest things that Falcons want is depth. A lot of these guys that you've seen, like 20, 15 players aren't making this roster. So you should know, like 2025, depending on whatever, they're not going to make the roster. So you should know, like, half these guys are not going to be playing for this team. So you got to think about the guys who are actually going to be backing up their starters and think, okay, well, running backs, you got good depth. Quarterback, Heineke's a good backup. I mean, tight end, you got Juwan Smith. You really need someone to step up. Offensive line may be an issue with some depth. They've had some injuries there, so I think it's going to be interesting. I know a lot of people are expecting to see the end of Jalen Mayfield, expecting him to get cut. Had a terrible game against Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's just be honest. He just has not developed. He's not improved. His technique has been really bad since he's been here in Atlanta, and I think a lot of people are seeing this as his final days as a Falcon. But, there's going to be questions about the offensive line has injuries. What is the depth going to look like there? Defensive line, I think there's more depth there than we've had in years. I think linebacker, again, is kind of questionable because you have a lot of unknowns after Troy Anderson. And even Anderson isn't a fully known, but, like, there's expectations that he'll be really good. And then Caden Ellis, you know what he is if you watch him with the New Orleans Saints and you look at film. So after that, you have questions, is Tay Davis, is Nate, is Mike Jones, are those guys going to, be reliable when called upon if there is an injury to the linebacking core, or if they do the base 4-3 defense and things like that? Are they going to be someone that we can trust, rely on? They played well in the preseason, so there's no reason to think they maybe couldn't be, but that's just something. They have a lot of cornerback depth. It's going to be interesting who they keep. It looks like D. Alford safe. Obviously Okuda, obviously AJ. Clark Phillips has been really good this preseason. Really glad about what we've seen here. I think he's a lock. That's 4 corners. I guess your biggest questions are Mike Hughes, Darren Hall, who has made some plays, Cornell Armstrong, Trey Flowers. I mean, those are the guys you got to decide. You would assume they're going to keep 5 corners, so you just got to figure out who that 5th corner is going to be for the most part. So, and you feel like there's depth there. And don't forget, even guys they cut, they can put on the practice squad, so they may not even mean any of them on just being on this team in general. And then obviously safeties, they have Jesse Bates, Richie Grant, but the backups are really good. Jalen Hawkins was a starter last year and has played well. He's played really well. He's been flying. Listen, we've all known when Ryan Nielsen came in, Jalen Hawkins was going to be put in more of a third safety roamer role, which I think is where his skill set is best seen because of the fact that he can roam the field, make plays, and do different things. So I think for me, I would feel really good about that in that role for him, and I think he'll make plays. And then DeMarco Hellams, we have to be honest, he has been one of the best rookies in preseason. And for a guy who, coming out of Alabama, one of his scouting reports was he was not good in coverage. He has been terrific in coverage. He has truly shown a lot of growth. And listen, you never know if that could have just been what Alabama was asking him to do. It did not work well for him in that sense of coverage, but maybe he really has just made those strides here in Atlanta. And that's just a credit to Jerry Ray, the new defensive backs coach. Coaching them boys up. You can see a differentness from the secondary this year. More physical, more hands-on, more tighter coverage. Dean Pease played a lot of back, zone, give space, keep everything in front of you. I can tell Nielsen's going to be more aggressive. He's going to have more hey, get your hands on him. Don't give him easy lanes. So, and it's going to depend on guys being able to cover. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be definitely a lot more man-to-man this year potentially because of that. So, DeMarco Hellams and then even Abernathy has been good in the preseason. There's questions of would they even keep 5 safeties? I mean, these are all questions. So I think overall, when you recap the preseason, you feel like, okay, didn't see the starters a lot, but from what you saw promise. you saw something that could work. You saw something that's like, okay, I can work with this. I can see the vision here. It's just now a matter of putting it all together when week 1 comes. You pretty much, I feel like you know the majority of this roster and what's going to happen on the 53. You just have those few positions: wide receiver 5, backup offensive lineman, who's going to make the back end of the defensive line, linebacker. That's really, and then like that last corner spot, like who's going to make the team, because there's been a lot of competition at those spots, and good competition at those spots. And that's obviously what you want to see from training camp and preseason. You want to see that type of stuff. You want to see competition. You want to know that we could maybe go with 1 or 2 or 3 guys and still feel like we get a quality player at that spot, just because we don't have enough spots to go around. So all of those things are a part of the process that Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot have to decide over the next couple of days. Like I said, cut downs are Tuesday, so they have to make a decision by that point. Like I said, I'm excited to kind of see what everything looks like. And I think overall this preseason, you maybe feel like you didn't see as much as you saw, but you saw very promising things. And now we'll be interested to see what game plans in place, with a scheme in place, with everything going into week 1 against Carolina, how this team looks. We got to wait 2 weeks, they take a week off, and then they get back at it. And like I said, I know people are not about starters playing it, but we have to just believe in Arthur Smith and what he's doing and what he's trying to do. So we're going to have to keep an eye on everything. Like I said, overall this preseason, I think, like I said, you've seen some good things. I think D. Alford probably will be the punt returner at this point, just because he's the only who returned a kickoff for a punt return for a touchdown. And I think he's been one of the more effective guys in that role as well. So overall, I think there's a lot of good things here for the Falcons to continue to work with and see what happens. But we're going to continue your coverage. I am expecting you guys. I'm excited for the season. I'm expecting to be on top of it, thinking about doing week 1 Monday recaps and then previewing it later in the week. Obviously, if you're also subscribed to this channel for Hawks coverage, got a podcast coming. Have to try to get that started up probably in the next month. So there's going to be a lot of content on this channel. So tell your friends, subscribe, like, all that. Trying to make this the central point for Hawks and Falcons coverage. But since Falcons season is about to start in a couple weeks, that will be the main force of this channel. And we will be on top of it as much as I can, as much as my day job allows me to, and things like that. Obviously, I'll let you guys know if things come up. And if you want to follow me, keep up with me on social media. Follow me on Twitter at Bricey_2K, BRICEY_2K for all Falcons and Hawks updates. But that's all I got for you guys right now. Like I said, we're going to have to see what happens going into the regular season. Excited to see what happens. We're going to have a week 1 preview coming up next week, so stay tuned for that. But that's all I got for you guys. It's your boy Bryce Lewis. See you next time.